The night started like any other in the world of reality TV, but what unfolded was anything but ordinary. Fans are still reeling, and social media is ablaze with speculation. As shocking rumors about Kirk Frost and Rasheeda's personal life have erupted into a full-blown storm. It all began with whispers rumors that Rasheeda was expecting a child. At first, fans were thrilled at the possibility, imagining a heartwarming new chapter for the couple. But excitement quickly spiraled into chaos when Kirk made a revelation that no one saw coming. In an exclusive interview, emotions ran high as he outright denied Rasheeda's pregnancy, leaving both fans and family members stunned. The tension was palpable, the air thick with disbelief and confusion. How could a claim this serious be denied so publicly? Why would Kirk choose this moment to shatter expectations and ignite controversy? The family was left divided, close friends took sides, and fans flooded social media with shock, outrage, and endless theories. As you watch, you'll feel the whirlwind of betrayal, secrecy, and heartbreak that has gripped everyone involved. Every glance, every pause in conversation, every subtle expression hints at secrets far deeper than the surface drama. Tonight, you are stepping into a story that isn't just about gossip, it's about relationships, trust, and explosive revelations that no one could have predicted. Prepare yourself as the tension escalates, the alliances shift, and the ultimate question looms. What really happened behind closed doors? Emotions are raw, accusations are flying, and the truth is more elusive than ever. Fans are shocked. The family is on edge. And the reality is, no one is walking away unaffected. Stay tuned, because what you are about to hear might change everything. You thought you knew about Kirk, Rasheeda, and the storm that is just beginning to unfold. The room was tense the moment Rasheeda arrived at the exclusive gathering, where Kirk had agreed to speak. Cameras flashed, capturing every subtle expression, every tiny movement, every glance exchanged between the couple. Fans watching from home could almost feel the electricity in the air. As if the very walls were holding their breath, waiting for the first spark to ignite the storm. Rasheeda's smile seemed forced, a tight-lipped attempt to mask the anxiety bubbling beneath her poised exterior. She tried to appear composed, glancing around at familiar faces, but her eyes betrayed a deep unease. Kirk, on the other hand, stood a few steps away, casually leaning against a wall. Yet there was a rigidity in his posture that suggested something far heavier than casual conversation. Whispers had already begun to circulate among the attendees. Is she really pregnant? Did Kirk know? What is he going to say? The questions floated through the room like a thick fog, impossible to ignore. Then, without warning, Kirk spoke, his voice cutting through the murmurs like a blade. I want to make something very clear, he began, his tone calm yet chilling. There's no baby. The words landed like thunder, leaving everyone frozen mid. The cameras didn't blink, the crew held their breath, and the guests exchanged nervous glances, unsure whether to react with disbelief or outrage. Rasheeda's hand flew to her chest, her eyes wide, searching his face for any hint that he was joking, but there was no trace of levity, no softness to soften the blow. The denial was absolute, categorical, and brutally public. A hush fell over the room, the kind of silence that screams louder than words ever could. Then came the whispers, growing louder with each passing second. Did he just say that? But she told us. How could he deny it like that? Fans watching online erupted instantly, flooding social media with disbelief. Memes, heated debates, and conflicting theories. Emotions ran high as everyone tried to piece together the puzzle. How could a couple who had shared so many public moments of affection suddenly become the center of such explosive controversy? Kirk's denial wasn't just a statement, it was a seismic event, shaking the very foundation of what fans believed about their relationship. Rasheeda, struggling to regain her composure, took a step toward him. Kirk, what are you talking about? Are you serious right now? She asked, her voice trembling despite her effort to stay firm. Kirk's expression remained unreadable, almost cold, as if he were rehearsing this moment 1,000 times in his head, knowing exactly the impact it would have. I'm serious, Rasheeda, he replied evenly. There's no baby, and I think it's time we stopped the rumors before they get completely out of control. The room felt like it was tilting, the air itself heavy with tension. Some of the couple's closest friends and family were visibly stunned, caught between loyalty to Rasheeda and the shocking authority in Kirk's voice. This was more than a simple misunderstanding, it was a direct confrontation, a challenge to public perception, and an outright denial that left everyone scrambling for answers. As cameras continued to roll, The reactions varied dramatically. Friends who had been allies moments before now shifted uncomfortably, their eyes darting between Kirk and Rasheeda, unsure of whom to trust. One longtime friend whispered, "This doesn't make sense. She was telling me about her appointments, everything. Why would he deny it now?" Another, more skeptical, muttered, "Maybe there's more to this than we know. Maybe Kirk's hiding something, or maybe he's telling the truth and we've been fooled." The tension was suffocating, a tight coil that refused to unwind. Even the crew behind the scenes felt the weight of the moment, sensing the historic nature of what was unfolding. For fans, it wasn't just entertainment anymore. It was a raw, unfiltered glimpse into a personal drama that many had only speculated about until now. But Kirk wasn't done. He leaned forward slightly, lowering his voice, and added, "I know this is hard to hear, but some things need to come out in the open. The rumors have gone too far, and it's time people knew the truth." The words struck like a hammer, echoing in the room and bouncing through social media like wildfire. Some felt vindicated, thinking perhaps Kirk was finally speaking reality into the whirlwind of speculation. Others felt betrayed, furious that the denial was so public, so humiliating, so utterly destructive to Rasheeda's credibility. The debate ignited instantly online, fans taking sides with fiery determination. Hashtags began trending, posts exploded with fan theories, and the comment sections became battlegrounds of disbelief and outrage. Meanwhile, the couple's inner circle tried to mediate the fallout in real time, knowing that every word, every facial expression, every gesture would be scrutinized by the public. Rasheeda's family approached cautiously, their faces a mixture of concern and anger. Her mother, attempting to remain calm, said softly, "Rasheeda, maybe he doesn't mean it like that, let's just," but she was cut off by a dramatic hand gesture from Kirk. "No," he said firmly, "it has to be said. Enough hiding, enough pretending. The truth matters more than appearances." The confrontation intensified as Rasheeda stepped back, tears brimming in her eyes. "Kirk, this isn't just about truth. People will think I'm lying. People will think I'm—" She stopped herself, choked by the raw emotion in the room. The cameras captured it all, every micro-expression magnified 1,000 times for the audience at home. Then, in a shocking twist, one of Rasheeda's closest friends stepped forward, trying to de-escalate the situation. "Look, maybe there's been a misunderstanding. Maybe this isn't what it looks like. Can we just—" Kirk's expression hardened, cutting the voice off with a sharp shake of his head. "No. This is exactly what it looks like. The rumors are false, and they end here." The atmosphere grew even tenser, emotions fraying at the edges. The family was left divided, some standing behind Rasheeda with fierce loyalty, others nodding cautiously toward Kirk's declaration. Even the fans online were polarized, with fiery debates erupting every second. Was Kirk lying to protect himself? Was Rasheeda hiding something deeper? Or was this simply a catastrophic misunderstanding magnified by the relentless scrutiny of reality TV fame? As the night dragged on, arguments flared, whispered accusations flew across the room, and even casual observers found themselves pulled into the emotional whirlwind. One guest, attempting to lighten the mood, joked nervously, "Well, I didn't expect a pregnancy denial to feel like a courtroom drama," but the comment fell flat in the oppressive tension. Every exchange, every pause, every glance became charged with meaning. Then came the first major twist of the evening, an unplanned revelation from a surprising source. A former friend of the couple, previously quiet and reserved, suddenly stepped into the fray. "You know," they began, voice trembling with emotion, "there's more to this story than you all realize. You think you know the truth, but you're only seeing a fraction of it." The statement hung in the air, heavier than any denial or accusation. Cameras turned immediately, capturing the stunned reactions of everyone in the room. The words ignited a flurry of whispers, speculative glances, and sudden bursts of panic. Fans online erupted anew, theorizing about secret relationships, hidden betrayals, and possible conspiracies. What do they know? Are they implying something about Kirk? Is Rasheeda involved in some twist we haven't seen? The energy shifted dramatically, pulling everyone into a deeper level of drama and suspense. Rasheeda, overwhelmed but unwilling to back down, addressed the crowd with quivering dignity. "I don't know what more there is to say. I've been honest. I've shared everything. If people refuse to believe me, that's not my responsibility." Her voice, though trembling, carried a fierce undercurrent of determination, signaling that she was not going to be easily intimidated or silenced. Kirk, however, remained unmoved, his expression steely, almost impervious to the mounting emotional weight. "The facts speak for themselves," he said firmly. "I've said what needs to be said. End of discussion." The room felt like it was suspended in time, a single moment stretching endlessly as everyone absorbed the implications. And then the unthinkable happened. A text alert buzzed across Kirk's phone, loud and insistent, demanding immediate attention. The sudden interruption added yet another layer of unpredictability to the unfolding drama. Everyone turned toward him, eyes wide, breaths caught in collective suspense. Kirk glanced at the screen, his face momentarily shifting from composed to something unreadably complex. "This changes things," he muttered, almost to himself, before stepping aside to read further. The murmur surged once more, ripples of curiosity and fear spreading through the room. Was this an incoming message from another family member? A secret friend revealing hidden truths? Or perhaps a shocking confirmation that would finally tip the scales in the ongoing conflict? The anticipation was almost unbearable, and the cameras didn't blink. Knowing that every second of Kirk's reaction would be dissected by millions online, Rasheeda's eyes followed him, full of questions and silent accusations. While friends and family exchanged frantic whispers, none daring to voice their theories aloud. This was the moment when private chaos collided with public spectacle, a perfect storm of emotions, secrets, and high-stakes drama. The tension in the room only deepened as Kirk's phone buzzed insistently in his hand. Everyone watched, breathless, as he scrolled through the incoming messages, his expression darkening with each glance. Rasheeda's heart raced, a mix of fear and disbelief twisting in her stomach. "Kirk, what is it?" she demanded, her voice sharp yet quivering. He didn't answer immediately, his eyes locked on the screen as though the words could reveal something more than the device itself. Finally, he looked up, and the atmosphere thickened even further. "It's from someone who knows the truth," he said quietly, almost menacingly. The words sent a ripple of unease through the room. Friends leaned in, whispers spreading like wildfire. Everyone wanted to know who was this mysterious source, and what truth were they holding. Social media exploded instantly. Fans speculated endlessly, crafting theories about secret encounters, hidden conversations, and shocking betrayals. One thing was clear: the stakes had just skyrocketed, and the drama was far from over. Rasheeda, refusing to let the moment pass without confrontation, stepped closer. "If there's some kind of game going on, Kirk, I want answers now. Enough of the lies and evasions." The room collectively held its breath. Kirk's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, he seemed almost calculating, weighing his next words with precision. "I've been quiet, I've been careful," he said slowly, letting the weight of every syllable sink in. "But some things are better left unspoken until the right moment. Right now, the truth is complicated." That single word, complicated, sent everyone into a frenzy. Family members exchanged worried glances, friends whispered frantically, and fans online could hardly contain their excitement. Speculation ran rampant. What could be so complicated about a pregnancy denial? Was there another secret, another betrayal hidden beneath layers of deception? Rasheeda felt a surge of anger and frustration. "Complicated," she repeated, her voice rising. "Kirk, people's lives aren't puzzles for you to manipulate. This isn't a game." His calm demeanor only fueled her frustration. "I'm not manipulating anyone," he replied evenly, though the tension in his jaw betrayed him. "I'm stating facts. That's all. I've said it. There's no baby." The declaration was like a hammer striking a fragile surface. The room shuddered with collective shock. Friends and family were caught in the crossfire, unsure whether to support Rasheeda, trust Kirk, or retreat into cautious neutrality. The first dramatic twist of the night emerged when Rasheeda's sister, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward. "Wait a minute," she said, voice trembling with barely restrained fury. "Are you seriously denying something that could change everything for our family? How can you say there's no baby when Rasheeda has been?" She stopped abruptly, realizing that her words alone could fuel further speculation and media frenzy. Kirk's eyes flashed, and he cut in sharply. "Enough, I don't need a courtroom debate in my own home. The statement has been made. Accept it, or leave." The room was left in stunned silence. The conflict was no longer just between Kirk and Rasheeda. It had spread, infecting friends, family, and even bystanders who had been innocently present. The emotional stakes escalated with each passing second, and the whispers online intensified into a tidal wave. Every news outlet, fan page, and social media account seemed to have its own version of the story. Then came another shocking development. One of Rasheeda's close friends, who had initially supported her publicly, suddenly began to speak out against her, adding fuel to the fire. "You know, I've heard things," she said cautiously, glancing around before continuing. "There may have been some miscommunication, but we can't ignore what Kirk is saying. Maybe there's more than meets the eye." The words landed like a bomb, creating instant tension. Rasheeda's eyes narrowed, disbelief mixing with indignation. "You're turning against me?" she asked, her voice laced with hurt. After everything, the betrayal cut deep. Friends who had been her allies now seemed to waver, unsure of where their loyalties should lie. Kirk, noticing the shift in the room, leaned in slightly, his presence commanding attention. "See? This is what happens when speculation takes over. People get confused, alliances shift, and the truth is lost in the noise. I've said my piece. That should be enough." But it wasn't enough. Nothing was ever enough in the maelstrom that reality TV had created around this couple. The emotional conflict spiraled, with each person in the room grappling with their own perceptions, biases, and attachments. And just when it seemed the tension couldn't escalate any further, another twist emerged. Leaked text message from Rasheeda's own phone, displayed inadvertently on a nearby screen by a curious onlooker. The content was brief, cryptic, but explosive. "They'll never know. Not yet, but soon." The implications were immediate. Was Rasheeda admitting to something? Was Kirk hiding something? Or was it all part of an elaborate misunderstanding? The room erupted once more. Gasps, whispered accusations, and hurried phone calls to verify facts filled the space. Fans online went into overdrive, dissecting every word, every punctuation mark, every possible meaning. Some speculated that Rasheeda was pregnant after all, and that Kirk was attempting to protect a secret. Others believed it was a distraction, a red herring designed to manipulate public perception. The family, now fully divided, struggled to maintain composure. Her mother tried to intervene, her voice shaking with urgency. "Rasheeda, please, can we step outside and talk privately?" "This isn't the place to," but Kirk cut her off with a firm shake of his head. "No. Everything happens in the open now. If people want the truth, they'll see it here, live, unfiltered." The emotional stakes soared to unprecedented heights. The couple's friends attempted to mediate, each conversation fraught with tension, each suggestion met with resistance. "Maybe we should just wait," one whispered nervously. "Let them cool down before making it worse." But the public nature of the confrontation left little room for calm reflection. Cameras rolled relentlessly, capturing every moment for an audience hungry for drama. Fans couldn't look away. Every gasp, every tear, every defensive gesture was amplified across social media, fueling the frenzy further. Then came a shocking confession from an unexpected source, a producer, previously silent, who had been observing from the sidelines. "There's more going on than anyone realizes," they announced. "Some of the information people have been speculating about isn't accurate, but there are elements that are very real. You'll see soon enough." The words were like a match to gasoline. The audience, both in the room and online, could barely contain their anticipation. What did the producer know? How would it change the narrative? Rasheeda, feeling cornered yet defiant, faced Kirk directly. "You can deny all you want, but the truth has a way of coming out. People will know what's real and what's not," she said, her voice trembling with emotion, yet resolute in its determination. Kirk's response was calm, almost eerily so. "If the truth matters that much, it will reveal itself in time. Until then, all we can do is stay grounded in what we know to be facts." The room seemed to hold its collective breath. Every eye was fixed on the couple, waiting for the next spark that would either ignite or diffuse the escalating storm. And then, unexpectedly, a journalist standing near the back of the room raised a pointed question. "Kirk, Rasheeda, are you hiding anything from the public? Is there a reason for this sudden denial?" The question pierced the tension like a dagger. The silence that followed was deafening. Kirk's jaw tightened, Rasheeda's hands trembled, and friends exchanged nervous glances. The answer to this question, whatever it would be, had the power to change everything. Online, fans speculated endlessly, theories spinning faster than the truth could possibly catch up. Was there another secret child? A hidden relationship? Or simply a misunderstanding, blown out of proportion by the relentless scrutiny of fame? The room was a powder keg of emotions, anger, betrayal, confusion, and curiosity all coalescing into a perfect storm. No one could predict the next move, and everyone could feel the fragile tension cracking at the edges. Just when it seemed that the storm might reach a momentary lull, a sudden revelation hit the room like a bombshell. A voice from the crowd, someone rarely heard from, shouted, "You two are playing with people's emotions. Admit it, or step aside." The accusation hung in the air, sparking immediate reactions. Friends and family shifted uncomfortably, some nodding in agreement, others bristling at the confrontation. Rasheeda's face flushed with anger and embarrassment, her hands clenching into fists. Kirk's expression darkened, a flicker of something unspoken passing through his eyes. The drama was far from over, and the audience, both in the room and online, could sense that the night was just beginning. Every glance, every whispered accusation, every reaction captured on camera fed the insatiable appetite of fans desperate for the next twist. The emotional roller coaster had no end in sight, and the tension between Kirk and Rasheeda threatened to explode at any moment. This was a moment where alliances shifted in seconds, where trust was fragile, and where the stakes were higher than ever before. The room remained thick with tension, the air practically vibrating with anticipation as Kirk and Rasheeda faced off in what had now become a dramatic standoff. Friends and family hovered nearby, some clearly torn between loyalty and disbelief, while others remained rigidly neutral, unwilling to risk taking sides. Cameras clicked and rolled incessantly, capturing each subtle twitch of a muscle, each fleeting expression of hurt, rage, or incredulity. Every glance, every pause, every word spoken or left unsaid was analyzed in real time, not only by the attendees in the room but also by millions of fans glued to their screens, dissecting every frame on social media. Rasheeda, still trembling, with a mix of anger and fear, finally found her voice again. "Kirk, do you realize what you're doing? Publicly denying something so personal. This isn't just about rumors. This is about my life, my reputation, my truth." Her words sliced through the room, met with a wave of murmurs and sympathetic nods from those who understood the emotional weight of her statement. Kirk, his face a mask of controlled frustration, remained calm but firm. "Rasheeda, I'm not denying your life. I'm denying the rumor that's spinning out of control. This story, it's gone beyond reality and is now just chaos. People deserve clarity, even if it's hard to hear." His tone, though measured, was laced with an underlying authority that made it clear he intended to dominate the narrative. Yet the tension didn't abate. Instead, it intensified. As Rasheeda struggled to respond, a close friend of hers interjected, trying to mediate. "Maybe we need to take a step back. Emotions are running too high. Let's discuss this privately, before it spirals further." But Kirk's eyes narrowed, and a low, sharp laugh escaped him. Private discussions. The private part ended the moment rumors went public. Now, we deal with the consequences, whatever they are. That statement only fueled the drama. The whispers and gasps in the room escalated, and the online audience went into overdrive. Hashtags exploded, theories multiplied, and fans demanded answers from every angle. "What is Kirk hiding?" one fan asked. "Is Rasheeda pregnant after all?" another countered. The speculation was relentless, leaving no room for calm or reasoned debate. Then, in a shocking twist, Rasheeda's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, and her eyes widened in alarm. A private message had just arrived from a source claiming insider knowledge. A friend who had been present at moments no one else knew about. The message read, "If Kirk continues this, the truth will come out. Be ready." She gasped, holding the phone like a lifeline. Her hand shook as she showed it briefly to her sister, who whispered urgently, "This changes everything." Kirk noticed her reaction and his expression darkened, a shadow of suspicion crossing his face. "What is that?" he demanded. Rasheeda hesitated, unsure whether revealing the message would escalate the situation further. But before she could answer, another twist erupted. A longtime family friend suddenly stepped forward, breaking their usual calm demeanor. "I can't stay silent anymore," they declared. "There's more to this than either of you are admitting, and it's time everyone knows." The crowd gasped, cameras zooming in to capture the surprise confession. Murmurs spread like wildfire. Friends exchanged frantic glances. Social media erupted once again as fans tried to decipher what could possibly be revealed next. Rasheeda's face flushed with a mix of anger, embarrassment, and determination. Finally, she exclaimed, "Someone has the courage to speak the truth. Kirk, you can't control everything." Kirk's .com facade cracked momentarily. revealing the faintest flicker of panic before he masked it again with a composed expression. Truth, he echoed, voice low. The only truth here is what I've said. Everything else is speculation, distortion, and rumor. And yet, everyone wants chaos. Is this entertainment now, or is it our lives? That question hung in the room, heavy and unanswerable. The family, now fully divided, tried to regain some semblance of order, but every attempt seemed to make things worse. Another dramatic twist emerged as Rasheeda's younger cousin, previously quiet and seemingly neutral, suddenly shouted, "You've been lying for too long, Kirk. People need to know what's really happening." The outburst sent shockwaves through the room. Friends and family gasped, some nodding in agreement, others shaking their heads in disbelief at the growing hostility. The tension was now palpable, almost suffocating. Then, in a move that shocked everyone, Kirk stepped closer to Rasheeda, his voice dropping to a near whisper, yet loud enough for all to hear. "If the truth is so important, let it come out. But be prepared, what comes out may not be what you expect." The words sent a shiver down everyone's spine. Speculation ran rampant. What did he mean by that? Was there a hidden story? A secret that would rewrite everything? The drama intensified as Rasheeda, feeling cornered yet unwilling to back down, squared her shoulders. "I've lived my truth every day," she said firmly, voice rising, "and I will continue to do so, no matter what secrets or lies are thrown at me." The crowd reacted immediately. Some clapped in support, others shook their heads, and still others whispered urgently to one another, trying to process the avalanche of emotions and revelations unfolding in front of them. Then came the next shock, an anonymous tip, delivered directly to one of the producers, claiming evidence that could potentially prove Rasheeda's pregnancy or at least hint at it. The producer, caught in the moment, announced to the room, "There's something that may shed light on this entire situation. We need to see it before any further speculation." The cameras captured every reaction. Rasheeda's eyes filled with hope and anxiety, Kirk's tightened with suspicion and calculation, and the room collectively held its breath. Fans online exploded, theorizing wildly. Was this the confirmation everyone had been waiting for, or another twist in an already convoluted saga? The emotional stakes had reached a fever pitch. The couple's closest friends were now split, some trying to support Rasheeda, others leaning toward Kirk's side, while outsiders watched in fascinated horror. Another dramatic turn occurred when a family member, frustrated with the back and forth, stormed out of the room, muttering, "I can't watch this madness anymore." The departure left the remaining attendees in stunned silence, intensifying the sense of isolation and conflict. Just when it seemed the tension could not grow any further, a sudden revelation from Rasheeda herself brought the room to a near standstill. "I have nothing to hide," she said firmly, eyes blazing. "If there's a secret, if there's doubt, I want it out in the open. I'm done letting rumors define me." The declaration sent waves through the room, eliciting both cheers and shocked murmurs. Fans watching online erupted in excitement, applauding her courage and determination, but Kirk's reaction was unexpected. He leaned back slightly, a small smirk crossing his face, as though he had anticipated this moment all along. "Bravery is admirable," he said, voice low and measured, "but courage doesn't always equate to truth. Be careful with what you reveal." The warning only heightened the drama, hinting at twists yet to come and sending speculation into overdrive. Cameras captured the tension, every detail magnified for an audience hungry for the next revelation. Friends exchanged frantic whispers, each trying to predict the next move in a game that seemed increasingly unpredictable. Social media was ablaze. Fans dissected every word, every gesture, every expression. Theories multiplied exponentially. Secret pregnancies, hidden betrayals, manipulation, deception, and emotional warfare dominated comment sections and fan pages. And then, another bombshell, a longtime insider, previously considered unreliable, stepped forward with a startling claim. "There's evidence," they said, voice quivering but determined, "that may prove either side right or wrong. Everyone here needs to see it." The room erupted again. Gasps, whispered arguments, and frantic speculation filled the space. Rasheeda and Kirk both froze, realizing the implications of what had just been announced. The tension had reached an almost unbearable crescendo, the audience hanging on every word, every gesture, every pause. Alliances continued to shift, emotions surged uncontrollably, and the drama showed no signs of abating. The emotional stakes were at their peak, and the next revelation promised to either resolve the conflict or push it into new uncharted territory. The room seemed suspended in time, each person caught between disbelief, anticipation, and a growing sense of dread. The announcement from the insider hung in the air like a storm cloud, heavy and charged with the promise of revelation. Kirk's eyes narrowed slightly, a flicker of calculation crossing his otherwise composed face. Rasheeda's hands trembled, her pulse racing as she tried to steady herself. The room's energy was electric. Every whisper, every glance, every subtle movement amplified the tension, leaving no space for calm. Cameras zoomed in on every expression, capturing micro-reactions that would later be replayed and analyzed endlessly by fans. Then, the insider stepped forward, revealing a sealed envelope that had been carefully hidden. "This," they said, holding it up for all to see, "contains information that could finally clarify what's really going on. Everyone here deserves to know the truth." A collective gasp swept through the room. The crowd leaned in, straining to catch a glimpse of what might be inside. Rasheeda's sister reached for Rasheeda's hand, squeezing it tightly, as if to share a silent moment of solidarity amid the chaos. Kirk, maintaining his composure, finally stepped forward. "Let's see it then," he said calmly, though the slight tension in his jaw betrayed the weight of the moment. The envelope was opened carefully, and the contents revealed a shocking twist. Medical documents that seemed to confirm what some had feared or hoped. The air in the room thickened, emotions running high as everyone processed the implications. Rasheeda's eyes filled with tears, a mixture of relief, fear, and vindication washing over her. This changes everything," she whispered, voice trembling. Kirk, however, remained silent for a moment, staring at the documents with an intensity that made everyone uneasy. Then, finally, he spoke. "It seems there's more to this than I realized," he admitted, his voice low but steady. The words sent a shockwave through the room. Friends exchanged stunned glances. Family members shifted uncomfortably, unsure how to react to Kirk's unexpected concession. The drama, far from dissipating, had reached new heights. Social media exploded anew, fans dissecting every second of the unfolding narrative. Theories multiplied, with hashtags trending globally. Some hailed Rasheeda as the victor, finally receiving acknowledgement of her truth. Others questioned Kirk's credibility, debating whether his denial had been a deliberate attempt to manipulate perception or a genuine misjudgment. Amid the chaos, a heated argument erupted between two close friends of the couple. "He knew," one shouted, voice rising with fury. "How could he deny it publicly if he didn't know?" The other countered, equally enraged. "Maybe he was protecting her. Maybe he had his reasons." The shouting match drew gasps from the crowd, tension spiraling further. Rasheeda, determined not to be overshadowed, raised her voice, cutting through the chaos. "Stop. Enough. This isn't about games or speculation. It's about honesty, respect, and the truth finally coming out." Her words struck a chord, momentarily silencing the room. Even Kirk, though still guarded, seemed affected by her passionate declaration. Then came an unexpected development. A surprise guest, someone with intimate knowledge of the couple's private life, arrived unannounced. Cameras immediately turned toward them, capturing every reaction. "I've come to set the record straight," they announced, voice firm and unwavering. The room went silent once more, the anticipation almost unbearable. Rasheeda's eyes widened, Kirk's expression tightened, and the audience online braced for another bombshell. The surprise guest revealed information that shed light on months of confusion, rumors, and conflicting stories. Details emerged about private conversations, misunderstandings, and moments that had been misrepresented or ignored by the media and public alike. The room reacted. Viscerally gasps, whispered exclamations, and sudden tears punctuated the revelation. Rasheeda clutched her chest, processing the validation of her experiences. While Kirk's expression shifted between shock and contemplation, the emotional stakes remained sky-high, but for the first time, there was a glimmer of clarity amid the chaos. Yet the drama was far from over. The surprise guest hinted at further revelations that would unfold in the coming weeks, leaving everyone in suspense. "What you've seen tonight is only part of the story," they said cryptically. "The full picture will emerge soon, and it will change everything you thought you knew." The room buzzed with tension and excitement, anticipation coiling like a spring ready to snap. Fans online speculated endlessly. Who else might reveal secrets? What would the next twist be? Could this storm of denial, confirmation, and revelation reach an ultimate resolution, or would it continue spiraling into deeper chaos? Rasheeda, sensing the need to reclaim her narrative, addressed the room directly. "I've endured lies, speculation, and public scrutiny," she said firmly, voice resonant with conviction. "Tonight, the truth has begun to emerge. I will continue to speak my truth, and I will not let anyone twist my story for entertainment or gossip." Her words elicited nods of agreement from supporters and silence from skeptics, amplifying the intensity of the moment. Kirk, absorbing the declaration, finally stepped forward with a measured expression. "Perhaps I was too quick to deny publicly," he admitted, voice steady but tinged with humility. "I didn't anticipate the impact. But the truth is coming out, and that's what matters." The room collectively exhaled, a tension-filled breath that had been held for hours. Though everyone knew the storm was far from fully past, cameras captured every second, ensuring that millions watching at home could feel the raw, unfiltered drama. Friends whispered among themselves, analyzing the implications, while family members navigated a complex web of loyalty, concern, and emotional investment. Social media surged with excitement, commentary, and fervent debates. Every fan had a theory, every viewer an opinion. And just when it seemed there might be a momentary pause, another twist emerged. A private conversation between two friends, overheard by the media, hinted at yet another layer of intrigue, suggesting hidden alliances, past conflicts, and unresolved tensions. The drama's momentum showed no signs of slowing. Emotions continued to run high, with heated debates, bursts of laughter, moments of tension, and flashes of vulnerability keeping everyone on edge. Rasheeda and Kirk, despite their differences, were forced to navigate the chaos together, aware that their every move was under the unrelenting scrutiny of both friends and millions of fans worldwide. Then, in a final shocking turn for the night, a mysterious figure arrived outside the venue, sending whispers through the crowd and triggering new speculation online. Who were they? What did they know? Could this person hold the key to untangling the web of rumors, denials, and revelations? The questions hung in the air, unresolved and electrifying. The couple, surrounded by family, friends, and cameras, realized that this was only the beginning. The drama, already explosive, had new fuel, and the coming days promised even more shocking developments, twists, and confrontations that would keep fans on the edge of their seats. The emotional intensity was palpable, the stakes higher than ever, and the story far from over. Every revelation, every denial, every cryptic message had propelled the narrative into uncharted territory, leaving everyone inside the room and watching from afar, eager, anxious, and utterly captivated. The night ended with tension lingering like a storm cloud, promising that the saga between Kirk and Rasheeda, rumors and denials, truths and half-truths, was far from finished. Every viewer, every fan, every family member, was now part of a drama that had no simple resolution. And no one could predict what the next revelation would bring. The night's revelations left everyone reeling. And as the dust settled, the reality of what had just unfolded began to sink in. Rasheeda, still trembling from the whirlwind of accusations, denials, and shocking revelations, took a deep breath and tried to center herself. She looked around the room, eyes meeting those of friends and family who had been both her support and her source of conflict. Every glance reflected the raw emotion, the unspoken questions, and the fragile alliances that had shifted throughout the evening. Kirk, too, seemed changed. His usual composed demeanor had cracked at moments, revealing the vulnerability beneath the public persona. The acknowledgement of complexity, the subtle admission that the story wasn't as simple as denial or confirmation, added layers to the tension that would continue to captivate fans for weeks to come. Social media buzzed relentlessly, fans analyzing every word, every gesture, every subtle nuance of the night's drama. The hashtags trended, speculation ran wild, and opinions polarized across the internet. Everyone had a theory, everyone had an angle, and everyone wanted more. The lingering question that hovered over all the speculation was clear. What would come next? Rasheeda had made her voice heard, standing firm in her truth, despite the denials and manipulations surrounding her. Kirk had acknowledged that the narrative was more complicated than anyone had realized, hinting at further developments that promised to keep the audience enthralled. The night had been a masterclass in emotional intensity, capturing the chaos, the conflict, and the human drama that fans had been craving. Yet, despite the storm, a sense of anticipation lingered, an understanding that this was far from the final chapter. New twists could emerge at any moment, and every revelation opened the door to even more speculation, intrigue, and excitement. And that is where you, the viewer, come in. What do you think about Kirk's denial and Rasheeda's response? Who do you believe, and what do you think will happen next? Your opinions, theories, and reactions are an essential part of this unfolding drama, and we want to hear from you. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed this roller coaster of emotions, subscribe to stay updated on all the latest twists, and comment below with your thoughts on who's telling the truth. The story is far from over, and your perspective could spark the next big conversation. Stay tuned, because with every passing day, the drama intensifies. And only time will reveal the full truth behind this jaw-dropping revelation. Wow, what a whirlwind of drama. Kirk's denial, Rasheeda's defiance, and all the shocking twists. This story has kept us on the edge of our seats. But we know the story isn't over yet, and that's where you come in. Who do you believe, Kirk or Rasheeda? What do you think is really going on behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments below, because we want to hear every opinion. Don't forget to hit that like button if you were as shocked as we were, and make sure to subscribe for all the latest jaw-dropping updates from the world of reality TV. Trust us, you won't want to miss what happens next.